Hello guys, welcome back to my program where I've been engaging with reaction. But come back from holiday, sleeping straight, and now we're watching something from the Soldier Pack. I really like Dragons and Iron Man's make it actually good with. I know it isn't the greatest, but it's like, I don't really hate it. It's like, okay, it's still like a new genre, new future, but we'll see what we say. And check out this guy. He makes good videos. Too bad he uses AI. Okay? But, let's see what he have to say.
Shows that frustrates me more the longer I think about it. Because the premise itself was actually good. In this video, I'm gonna let the rage get me as I rewrite the entire story of Dragons and Nine Realms to make it better. First, let's look at all the potential.
What I do know with like characters, like the main characters have like a growth, like they don't mature, like you genuinely enjoy a bit. If you see like when he first arrived to the later
they had with the Nine Realms. The original How to Train Your Dragon trilogy ended with dragons disappearing into the hidden world, so it makes sense to close Hiccup's story with that chapter. The creators also realized that setting the story in the Viking era would defeat the purpose of the hidden world, so jumping forward 1,000 years totally makes sense. A massive geological fissure opening near Ragtown is a great setup, and just like in the original, you have a group of kids with very different personalities stumbling into a secret world full of dragons. But that opening is the only thing the show does well, because everything goes downhill real fast from the first episode onwards, with potholes at every turn. Now there's no shortage of things to hate on in the plot of the Nine Realms, but today I'll be covering the 9 biggest narrative issues and suggesting how they could be fixed. Okay, so to start off, the first and biggest issue with the Nine Realms is that it tries too hard to copy the original franchise without telling its own story. From the very beginning, Tom and Thunder are presented as parallels to Hiccup and Toothless, and it's not even subtle. The bonding scenes, the early mistrust, the fish feeding, the flight moments, and everything else evokes the original film so directly that it starts to feel repetitive. Thunder being a nightlight only makes that problem more obvious, because instead of introducing...
I wonder in a year is what, not like in a year's time from now, or two, is he still going to be run by
the lead dragon who immediately tells us something new about this era, the show tries to appeal to nostalgia. On top of that, Tom being a descendant of Hiccup and Astrid through ancestry makes things even worse, because it tries too hard to tie the story back.
It could be like, he got like stuff from Hiccup, or the history, I mean, it could be different, like he ain't a part of the history, like he ain't a part of Hiccup's family, but, yeah, and like maybe it could be like a bit of the cells, like, what you have is one thing like thinking, it wasn't like two first time Hiccup, it was like more longer. It took longer for them to trust each other, but it's for them it's like almost instant. It's like maybe 2 or 3 episodes of them trying to bond with each other, and it works. Are we okay?
In my rewrite, that would be the first thing to go. Tom doesn't need to be related to Hiccup, and Thunder should not be a descendant of Toothless. Think about it. If the universe had marked Hiccup as the special heir to somebody else's legacy, the story wouldn't even be half as compelling. Rewriting Tom as just an unusually curious kid who develops an obsession with the world of dragons immediately improves the story, because it's no longer trying to piggyback off of Hiccup's legacy. I would also go ahead and give Tom a more outgoing personality, because he already lives in a world full of drones and seismic scans. Hiccup's role as a reclusive teenager worked a bit better because the Vikings had new technology, and even the slingshot he made to take down Toothless was pretty advanced by their standards. Changing Tom's personality to make him more of a risk-taker would put him into the explorer archetype. As he tries to understand the fissure, he becomes the first person to realize that there's something stranger than anyone expects in there. Thunder would also need to be reframed so that he feels like an actual dragon of the future, instead of just a visual callback to Toothless. I think he should be a completely original dragon with a cool design, like the Featherhide, so that the series kicks off with a fresh feel. The reason I want this change is because Thunder's design and behavior should tell us how dragons have changed while hidden away for centuries. Toothless lived in an era where dragons were routinely hunted, but Hunter's species wouldn't have even seen a human for many generations. But Thunder's species wouldn't have even seen a human for many generations.
What about Orcas? Orcas is like, they're smart enough to do religion, but you find an orc and see that he sees salmon fish, but you find
a Disney in a hat. They have it in religion. They eat only salmon. No one eats a seal. If there's not a lot of fish, they'll starve. In religion, it could be like when Toothus had children, he could have told them about humans and always being prepared. And what if it didn't go like? What if when the human poachers scars them and they have to be tough? Have you ever thought of that? Do you think an animal just forgets out of nowhere? This is like years, right? It can't just be forgot. And like, again with Orcus passed down. Zeus could have passed down his knowledge to his children, and so
What you can do here is make their behavior different. That way, when Tom and Thunder become the heart of the show, their relationship actually feels like the beginning of a new legend. The second issue that I have with the Nine Realms
is a good idea. A rewrite of the Nine Realms. And they can copy
is
this.
the kids somehow decide to hide actual dragons from their parents for no good reason. One of the biggest structural weaknesses in Nine Realms is how long it stretches the secret-keeping premise, even though the setting makes that secrecy much harder to justify. In Hiccup's story,
I know, but still, they have you too, because dragons, science, people do stupid stuff if they
there
find
was a
something
perfectly
new.
valid reason for him to hide Toothless. He came from a village that was terrorized by dragons, and his father was the most famous dragon hunter of that era. Olivia Cullerson, May Long, Philip Baker, and the rest of the adults at Icarus are not medieval villagers who would automatically attack a dragon on sight. They're actual scientists and caring parents. So if kids keep disappearing into suspicious areas, and if something as large and unmistakable as thunder is involved, keeping things secret makes no sense. So in my version, the adults discover the truth early, probably by the end of the first season. That actually creates better tension as well, since Olivia and Tom don't need to have a relationship built on him lying to her for episode after episode. Olivia learning the truth opens the door to actual conflict between people with different priorities. She can want to protect dragons while still believing that secrecy is unsustainable, while May Wong can want to contain the situation because she's responsible for Icarus. Hazel and Carla can see...
What about if Jay Wong, the lead of the company, is a bit more not good? Like, maybe she's like previously for some money ago, but then learned that it's a smart leadership. You know, I don't like it. They have, the government or the president of this company come in. They could have used him as a way to show, like Vigo, Drago, Grimborn, to show like a person with knowledge to make you
scientific and ecological applications. The kids are too young to grasp. With their involvement, the show becomes about what happens when...
They showed the president of the company for one episode, and they show him again. Like, he is the president. He could have been used to be a bad guy then, who taps through drugs, sells them, and use and find things that can help humanity, but it's like destroying
all of
the
these people know the
president.
truth and do not agree on what the right response is. This brings me to the third problem, which is that the modern setting of the story becomes irrelevant in terms of plot. One of the strangest things about Nine Realms is that it takes the huge swing of moving the franchise into the present day, and then barely explores what that would actually mean. The Vikings of Berk taming dragons was a huge power spike for them, because no one else on the archipelago possessed the power of flight. But the modern setting is only evident through the kids having devices and
I feel like the graphics ain't great. If you watch it and watch like Race to the Edge, I feel like the lighting is better. And like maybe it could have been. And I don't really care. Like a guy's complaining about G6 being like bad, right? About the song. I don't care about the song. I just move away from the song. But like it just a bit annoying. They don't. I just. Recreating can be either one to make it good or bad. And the remake is like they remake Shrek with new design. It's to be modern, right? They could have like put more graphics and maybe a bit more different animation style. They would have liked to give maybe her mother could have told some stories of myth of like long ago. Vikings roll dragon, see? To show a bit of nostalgia. And like, maybe they could have done drawing, like 2D it. Like, like Borg of the book, where it shows like, God of like great-grandfather, where it made a book of dragons. Like, and it was this cartoon style. I agree.
institutions like governments, corporations, environmental interests, and media organizations. In my rewrite, I would definitely include a media angle, either with legacy reporters or influencers, because those are the people out there you really need to keep secrets from. The corporate side of it is sort of covered in Slugkin's Dragon Sight mining efforts, but then Crystal is a whole other mess that I'll be getting into later on in this video. A better
What do
option
you
would be
mean?
people who try to profit off the dragons themselves, either by harnessing them as energy
Oh yeah, like bone sort of bone cutter or chains. Bone saw. Bloody hell,
or
I
simply
fucking
having
knew it.
dragons as exotic creatures. These premises immediately make the show feel more original by creating a modern conflict for the franchise that the audience can
It could have been Buzzsaw, right? Buzzsaw could be like, he's more silly, but got his pals, but he seeks to get other people, like if they want to show you, get rich, but Miss Wong and other people don't let them, and you can get them, and
understand
get
as well.
them,
Even if we
so
set aside the
bananas.
glaring world-building issues, there are still a ton of problems with the cast itself. The frustrating part here is that the basic lineup is honestly pretty good. Tom, June, D'Angelo, Alex, and eventually Eugene all have unique personalities that can anchor a team, and they all end up with memorable dragons as well. D'Angelo with Powhorn has a nice contrast between his caring personality and the sheer heft of his dragon, while Alex and Feathers are a natural fit if you want a character who's maybe a little too tempted by the urge to catalog him. The problem is that the actual show has absolutely no character development, and everyone is built around a single trait and then left out. June is the mythology expert, D'Angelo is the calm one, Alex is the tech one, Eugene is the arrogant one, and Tom is the lead. So the story bends back to one home. The fix for this is pretty simple. With each member of the Dragon Club getting a real character arc trying to work into how they relate to dragons and to the larger moral questions of the story. Tom's arc would be about learning that being first doesn't make him right, because he meets people first and starts with a kind of emotional ownership over the entire dragon discovery.
Yeah, I'm an ego, a bit of an ego of
And the story
respect.
would gradually push him out of that mindset. June's arc would put her in a role where she has to interpret the Nine Realms through mythology, and this could foreshadow Jormungandr instead of having it suddenly enter the story.
Normally comes as like the snake, but the god
Eugene
like
has some growth as he went from a self-centered opportunist to someone who finally earns the trust of both the team and his dragon, but his arc wasn't handled well at all. I would take more time to explore Eugene as a character, and have more opportunities for conflict and potential betrayal, so that there are some actual stakes in Eugene's character. If you
yeah,
do
like
that, the
it
dragon
could be like when you really said it was really good, but you didn't have a good bond with the star.
feels like a set of kid-friendly templates and properly takes on its role as the emotional core of the series. That depth is crucial because they're going to need it to survive the much more hostile environments I planned for them later in the rewrite. The fifth issue I want to fix is the most absurd of them all, because for a show called The Nine Realms, the story does nearly nothing in terms of exploring them. The worlds beneath the fissure should be one of the show's greatest strengths. While they're visually interesting, they rarely feel as deep or coherent as the title promises. The Crystal Realm, Fire Realm, Ice Realm, and Dark Realm all sound like pieces of a huge mythical geography, but too often they feel like theme park attractions rather than fully imagined ecosystems. That's a major missed opportunity, because the realms should be what give this spin-off its sense
I
of
don't really like these beaver things. How come I can't read the queen, right? It could be like maybe all these beaver dragons have wings, and the queen is more bigger and have like a tongue like the
feel an
fire
identity.
thing.
They should make the audience feel that the hidden world is older, and less human than what the writers of Burke understood. In my rewrite, each realm should pose unique problems for the Dragon Riders that they actually need to spend time solving. The Fire Realm is the only place that had this characteristic, since the magma and flames threatened to burn anyone who ventured into it. We could extend this logic to introduce poisonous plants to the Nature Realm, make freezing cold temperatures feel like an actual threat in the Ice Realm, or create mazes in the Crystal Realm that could actually trap people inside. By the time the
Or
story
like rock shells, like plates of rocks and that are strong, but like if you learn
reaches the
certain
Dark Realm, the atmosphere should shift so dramatically that it becomes clear that deeper parts of the hidden world are ancient and dangerous, even by dragon standards. This is also where the show's world building would need to become more internally coherent. One of the most common complaints I've heard from you guys about the Nine Realms is that the physical logic of these places makes no sense. Think about it. There's underground sunlight, weather systems, oxygen-generating crystals, and other pseudoscientific explanations that keep piling up as the show progressed. Now let's be clear. I don't think the realms need to be scientifically literal, but they do need to feel consistent enough that the audience can believe in them. The sixth issue I want to fix is the structure of the story.
like maybe you know Golden and Mike, they could like do that like jail I don't know, but like, Dragonfire the War is like something okay, like it's like fire, you got like
Story itself,
optically.
because throughout the show, I was wondering where they were going with this. The villains in the Nine Realms are another case where the show had usable material, but never organized it into a satisfying progression. Leonard Byrne, or Buzzsaw, has the basic outline of a decent antagonist, while Luna Sledkin has obvious potential as the
I would have seen like, in the end of the Donkey Kong, you have these red dragonflies, which makes oxygen, but it's like different, it affects you in a bad way. Maybe the ice, in the ice element could have made a blue one where it makes you hallucinate a bit.
face of exploitation. Linda and the other human antagonists could have fit into a stronger story if their motivations were clearer and their roles were more consistent. Then the show escalates all the way to Jormungandr, which is an enormous mythological jump, and one that the series never fully earns. Basically what we have here is a story lurching between different threat levels and
Jormungandr
tones
should have
without
been
enough
bigger,
connection between them.
more bigger, more longer, okay? And not just its breath, it's like, and fire and different dragons, a few more different dragons abilities, like acid and the
The
hypnotizing.
villains weren't supposed to be dull, and the story was created as an exploration of the Nine Realms across the seasons. If that was the goal, the story fails even harder, because with just 6 or 7 episodes per season, none of the realms are actually explored. So if we're rewriting the story like that, should perhaps be continued. The first possible rewrite would be more plot-driven, and the villains would be structured in layers. The first antagonist would not be a single person at all, but the system itself, and the earliest conflict comes from the question of how Icarus and the adults respond. That's the right scale from the beginning. And after that, Luna Sledkin becomes the first true human antagonist, because she represents the instinct to reduce an impossible discovery to a resource. Sledkin doesn't know that cartoon shouldn't leave her to be dangerous. If you make her sound reasonable, people around her will keep making compromises, and she pushes the limits of how much she can damage the hidden world ecosystem. Buzzsaw would come later, and I would rewrite him to feel more personal and accessible. One mistake that the show made with Buzzsaw was making him completely emotional, and thus making it hard to see him as a serious threat. Instead, we can make him an unstable, highly intelligent character who uses the dragons as a target for his own bitterness. So now we've covered the
And not
question of how the
smarter.
show reaches Jormungandr. I genuinely feel like we can cut the world serpent out of the story entirely. Or I can take the second approach to rewriting the story, which is to make it a monster of the week show, like Doctor Who or Scooby-Doo. In this approach, we'd have at least 15 episodes per season, with each episode covering a new dragon and each season entering a new world. The mythology behind Jormungandr needs to be built up from at least season 2 onwards, so that by the time the Dragon Club reaches the Dark Realm, everything is ready for the big reveal.
Yeah, it could be cool, but I would like Buzz switching. Like Buzz could be like not working for the girl, but like the leader of the head group. Or it could be like same with Heather. I don't know. But
This place is Jormungandr as the best spot to end the series and gives us a satisfying ending as well. But that idea actually brings me to the 7th issue of the story, which is that the dragons themselves are very lazy-minded. One of the reasons the original How to Train Your Dragon works so well is that the dragons were never just collectibles. Every dragon species had a distinct personality that matched its appearance, and even the dragons from Next to the Edge that appeared on the screen for only a short while were memorable. In Nine Realms, there are definitely dragons with strong visual identities, and dragons like the Funfang or Featherhide are fan favorites. But some dragons are absolute design disasters, and the Bubble Horn is the best example of this. It looks ridiculous.
okay, I know this is really realistic or scientific of dragon like fire. This is not really real. This unicorn piece of crap has spikes coming out of it and can make bubbles, right? And there, you don't see holes where the spike comes out. Like, it ain't like a hedgehog. Or a hedgehog has spike coming out, but you can see this grooves
And it's
on
obviously
the
supposed to be a good mascot for the child audience. But this isn't My Little Pony for us to have unicorns that play with bubbles. In my rewrite, I would give it some fancy designs. And the first target would be the dragons that are obvious combinations of other dragons. The mist
I try not to get rid of them, but like make them more useful, like to make them like snogging Snodgrass, but they just, but not, you know, if you know what I'm saying, okay? And like, and, oh yeah, Spuds don't just come out because of that, right? Because
Twister is obviously a mix of the monstrous nightmare and the hideous evil. But since it looks vaguely Chinese and is written by Dream, we're expected to believe that it's a brand new dragon. We have the same issue with the Deadly Spinner. which is just a weird hybrid of the Deadly Matter and the Silk Spanner.
I would like to think of evolution, because I've shown where maybe the guy finds a book somehow of dragons, and then they find out that they learn of evolution, splitting evolution, like
The same issue with the Deadly Spinner, which is just a weird hybrid of the Deadly Matter and the Silk Spanner.
it could have been maybe the Silk Spanner evolved because it was in harsher. So it's like in the grass world, you need to grow bigger and be less bigger and more like this, like evolution of like an animal spinning into different animals. And the small bugs to be more smaller to hide better. I will see them doing it. And it could be cool.
The gem then has a plankton. They're the same family, right? Maybe a plankton. And today you can have a long hair. It could be like the grow through so many years ago as well. With the moon bubble, which has the plankton, whereas they've become more harsh and more dangerous, and the gem races to be more defensive.
I don't think Marvel needs to throw out all its original species, but I do think it needs to ask harder questions about why these dragons exist and what their forms say about the realms they come from. A dragon's body, behavior, and abilities should emerge from the environment and story around it, and that's what I would focus on in my rewrite. Now, obviously, coming up with a whole...
We got 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 21. Hey, 21 different dragons. That's good. Just, I don't like this gem braces, like an elf to protect the core, which feels mystical, like maybe it could have been like a big crystal it protects, right? Yeah? You get what I mean? Like not like orb. Yes, okay. They should have a wing, this should be actually like, fire on princess. They should have a bigger wing. This is a bit dynamic. More creatures in the ocean. Okay? I like this. No things. Right? Good idea. These are good idea. Like, small things, small threats, but a jungle version. I wouldn't have been snowman, not really like. The next feels too weird. It feels like, usually, like, maybe the bigger eyes, And what is this? What is this? I've never seen it. Look, it's like the Night Fury. And this, no spikes, and it could be like them babies and a bigger unicorn showing us of unicorns. These are showing us.
I don't think it's even necessary. They easily bring back most of the old species from the canon series, which brings the nostalgia factor without losing control.
Jungle World, the Snackle fan. Like if I always give the Snackle fan.
Speaking of the canon series, we get to one of the most controversial parts of the Nine Realms. The 8th issue I want to fix is the implications that the show has for the events of the movie trilogy. Because if Tom and the others were finding common artifacts through the hidden world, that means Hiccup didn't stick to his plan of leaving the dragons alone. This is a huge problem because it's so out of character for Hiccup.
I have an idea for
the
this.
emotional weight of the Vikings and dragons separating in the 3rd movie. Sequels and spin-offs are great, but this is the problem when they try too hard to connect themselves to the original material. They end up creating unnecessary plot holes and do a disservice to the original story. The fix is simple. We don't leave any artifacts in the hidden world and make it so that Hiccup never sets foot in there if we're separating from Toothless. There are 2 ways that the show can treat knowledge about dragons from this point onwards. The discovery of dragons could lead to the Dragon Club researching about and uncovering existing texts about dragons. Think about it. We know that it wasn't only work that had dragons, because villains like Balloon actually originated from the continent. So there would be plenty of reports out there. Maybe they wouldn't even find the original dragon manual that Hiccup used thousands of years ago. The other alternative is to give them no information at all and let Tom Cullerson be more like Burke the World as he travels the Nine Realms, documenting and cataloging its various dragons. But the next connection to the canon series is what makes things really messed up. You see, Thunder is a Nightlight, but we also know that Thunder was born over 1,300 years after the first generation of Nightlights. Toothless is confirmed to be the last Night Fury, and we don't really see any other Light Furies in the hidden world either. So this raises the question, if there were no Light Furies or Night Furies beyond Toothless and his mate, how do we have a consistent lineage of Nightlights in the modern era? This plot hole made a lot of fans mad, because the only possible solution is inbreeding among the Nightlights, which is...
Okay, that could be fixed where like maybe it could have been 1 Nightlight and 1 Light Fury, and all of it is so Night Fury. The thing was like this, maybe they could have find someone in a museum, like they explored it, and Hiccup comes into these. I don't think Hiccup, like maybe Hiccup could leave a bit of thing, like if someone ever finds this, right? Or, and Jormungandr, there's a good idea where Hiccup did no things until Tusas hangs in to get help because of Jormungandr, and if he could have helped Tusas to be a
Once
final
again, the fix is
battle.
simple. If every other dragon rider gets an original Nine Realms dragon, why shouldn't Tom have one from the trilogy? If you give Tom a completely new dragon, or even a well-loved dragon from the original cast that's anything but a Nightlight, this problem gets solved immediately. Alright, so most people know I tuned out of the Nine Realms without finishing the series, and that was probably a good call, since it has a notoriously bad ending. So my ninth and final fix would be to give the series a proper ending that gives the fans closure while still leaving some potential for a future spin-off or sequel. One of the reasons that Hidden World hit so hard is that it committed to a real goodbye. It understood that the emotional climax of that trilogy had to be about letting go, and completed everyone's character arcs in time for the finale. But the ending of the Nine Realms wasn't like that. Set aside character arcs that weren't done well, just think about the number of characters whose stories weren't wrapped up at all. For example, Buzzsaw had an entire redemption arc, and even joined the final battle against Jormungandr alongside the Dragon Claw. When the story ends, we get zero insight into Buzzsaw's plans for the future, and not even a cutscene where he says goodbye to his Timberjack. There's also the Linda storyline, because we know that she goes from helping Sledkin and Buzzsaw take down the Dragon Club to eventually opposing Sledkin. One of the key reasons for this was her relationship with Nibbles, but once again, we don't get to see Nibbles' fate in the series either.
Typical if she was like, since she has nothing, gonna tell him that, and Sled King would like push it down
Speaking
and
of
kill
Sledkin,
him the
what even
person.
happened to her? We know that Tom furthered her plans to steal the Dragon Sight, but did she really fall to her death in the last scene we see her? Because that would be a pretty brutal end for Sledkin, and even though I don't agree with her, she didn't do anything serious enough to get killed. If your audience finishes your show and immediately has to crowdsource the ending, the story didn't work. My fix for this issue would be to at least include a couple of episodes after the ending to explore what happens to the characters. Fixing the issues with Linda and Nibbles and Sledkin could actually be done earlier as well, because there was absolutely no reason to stuff that subplot together with the Jormungandr arc. So in my rewrite, the club defeats Sledkin, gets back the Dragon Sight earlier, and we get to see the consequences she faces before Jormungandr makes an appearance. But even if we set aside the final events, there are a few more satisfying aspects of how the show ended. The most impactful of these is Tom and Jun's relationship, because them getting back together is just taking...
I think Sledkin, it's like she said more about how like, what she wanted to be in school. She ended her sister because she said self-away of vacation. Or she wants to succeed as the other people that. And when her servant, like the girl, who was gonna like say, no more, I'm done. Sledkin could have like tried to persuade her, said, the riches, and she said no, but then Sledkin could have been like, very well, and push her off, killing her, and killing the baby unicorn. Showing her she doesn't care anything but fame and power.
June had valid reasons for breaking up with Tom, but we don't really see him addressing that within the season, making them getting back together feel like just another cheap emotional moment than anything else. I would rewrite this by introducing the conflict around Tom's impulsiveness in an earlier season, and give the two of them enough time to work it out. This way they can resolve their disagreement at the start of the Jormungandr arc, and get back together around the final battle, just in time for the series ending. And that wraps up my 9 rewrites of the Nine Realms script to make it much
I hated that in the dark room you didn't see the bone apple, like I would like to know, like who could be like, what about weapons, right? But the speed, when you see the speed thing, you didn't see an alpha, right? I didn't really like the design, but they could have shown them, and they could have shown the bone apple in the dark room. Really fits in, and those ones instead of just these ones, very good. And another thing is with like ornament, it could have been like a dress like that was a version that made the wall, and it could have they said like it could have been like as we taken and used metal objects to make us on the screen, and then the human and need to leave, it could have like be turned into the donut, like it just like a few characters, right? Like maybe Buzzsaw could have more horror story. Like he ain't just like someone. He could be like a copy of Dagger, but more smarter and a bit like the rain, but smarter. And I would have liked it if they showed me more Dragon. Maybe they showed me the Willoughby because we've seen Dragon the Willoughby. We've seen the Mother the Willoughby. We've seen the name. Because then there were more. Who knows? We don't see the gold, Crimson Border, the Red Death, right? And you still thought it could have done more. Well, it could have been like, of like maybe Hamlet. Like, I was just thinking of it. It's like, I think futuristic. They haven't shown anything really futuristic. Like, what about Cameron? It shouldn't be state of the art. Like, this is for like tornadoes, thunderstorms, right? Like earthquakes. Which makes you really think of like. And what about the company? It's like seems like a very great company in the world. Like when they have like places, and it could have been cool if when Tom gets the book of them, they need to find where it goes away. Goes to a town reasonable or somewhere farther away with his friend. Take the book to them and try to understand them. Well, then new things like in the realm of evolution. Yes, and Hiccup could have left few things in the world, like to show people if anyone ever finds this. Or maybe you could have seen the Night Fury. Okay? To finally solve it. Night Furies are like all classes, very smart.
I still genuinely think that Dragons in the Realms is not a hopeless concept. It failed because it kept settling for cleaner versions of its own better ideas. What do you think? Should we just give up on the ideas of futuristic How to Train Your Dragon spin-offs? Let me know your...
No, I think if they make a rework and do what they do best, I could care a bit more. Like, if it like something they've done really correct. But maybe they could have shown something. Anyways, that'll be it. So if you can check out Girl Code or
Thoughts in the comments down.
Okay. Anyway guys, check out his channel if you want to. So as it is, check out my videos and check out this Real Code. Well, he deserves to be have subscribers. But as it is, bye.